Well, we don't really know what the impact of Brexit is because it hasn't happened, and we don't know what's going to happen when it does.
It's very difficult to identify any very hard indicators of change so far. So what we've been doing within the Combined Authority is coming up with a number of themes that we think we need to track over time. So we'll be publishing on a monthly basis a Brexit monitor, which goes through a whole slew of different issue areas related to our relationship with Europe, effectively.
The immediate impact was that we lost 10% of our purchasing power as a nation with the pound falling and people's summer holidays got more expensive. What the longer-term impacts are going to be, they'll be much bigger, much more wide-ranging, much too early to tell what's going to happen.
Prime Minister Theresa May has not ceded any power at all on the decision-making on any of the issues that are of particular relevance. On the timetabling of triggering of Article 50, there was the option of allowing Parliament to dictate as to how or when that should happen. She chose not to go to Parliament. She's retained that power entirely for herself. Our government should enact Article 50 at some stage in the first quarter of next year. That's in order to do two things. One, in order to show seriousness of intent to see this through, but then secondly also it puts in place a time frame, so everybody then has a time scale that they are working to.
We're sitting here in this rosy late summer, early autumn weather. The markets seem okay, we seem to have come out of this, but the things that are supporting that optimism can disappear so quickly, and my dark suspicion is actually they will do. Things have been a little calmer over the course of the late summer and early autumn, but my suspicion is that as we start to move towards the negotiation, as the Bank of England cuts interest rates again, as they almost certainly will do, sterling is going to come under increasing pressure.
We've got a situation where very low interest rates and negative interest rates will have to end, so the cost of money will increase and that will crowd out the availability of capital for investment and growth elsewhere in the economy.
There's obviously a question about whether Brexit will harm or even help possibly the Northern Powerhouse.
Manchester could actually play its lower cost base to its advantage. London is horrendously overpriced, and as the economy starts to falter in 2017, London could price itself out of the market. Manchester could price itself into certain markets, and I think it should seize the opportunity.
One of the things that Greater Manchester was celebrated about in the most recent past was being a cheerleader for devolution, as being a cheerleader for the Northern Powerhouse. It is our view that if we begin to roll back on these things, we begin to cut off at the knees our potential to get out of the situation which we now find ourselves in. We'd like to see a real reaffirmation of commitment to the Northern Powerhouse, because we see that as one way in which many of the issues that were raised by the vote could actually be addressed more effectively.
My concern is that a lot of the diversification that's taken place over the course of the last 10 years or more by companies out of London into places like Manchester could start to stall. I'm worried about that. I hope it doesn't, but who knows quite what Brexit does for us over the next decade.
We've just passed one fork in the road with the vote, and I wish we'd taken the other turn. But there's another fork in the road as well. We can either have Brexit with whatever deal we get, and business as usual in a very centralised UK economy, making all the same mistakes that we always have. Or we have to react to that shock by changing the kind of economic model that we have. And I think part of that change is going to have to be a really much more decentralised economy where regions like the Northwest or the whole of the North or the Northeast have their own powers to forge their own way in this new world that we find ourselves in.